Have you heard of this movie? And if you have, how did you hear about this movie? Through a friend, TikTok, and when you went and saw it, what happened? Did your theater's AC not work? Did the power go out? Or did they make you leave the theater altogether, even when other movies are working fine? If you don't know, Sound of Freedom is a movie based on a true story about child trafficking. It follows the story of a man named Tim Ballard who went and saved all these trafficked kids. So, if you haven't heard of this movie, why? Well, let's start at the beginning. This movie was finished all the way back in 2019. They went to Netflix, to Amazon, to Disney, everyone that you can think of, and they all turned them down, saying, quote, "It's not right for our brand," or some other pitiful excuse. Until recently, they didn't even know if the movie would be released, but then Angel Studios took the film and started to distribute it. It was released on July 4th, but I only heard about it on July 11th, among other people hearing about it on similar dates. There was no advertising, there was little to no coverage about it, and the coverage that was published called the movie right-wing propaganda or QAnon supportive, or Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. A quote from an article written by the Rolling Stones. With a quote talking about the main actor, Caviezel, saying, giving speeches and interviews in which he hints at an underground holy war between patriots and a sinister legion of evildoers who are harvesting the blood of children. It's straight up QAnon stuff. The article describes him as a quote, Batman-style savior for kids in the sex trade. Media suppression isn't new. It's been being used by the news and many other outlets for decades now. A good example of it is the video of all the news stations saying the exact same thing.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming,
So, the lack of awareness about this movie, the spin that it's some terrible right-wing conspiracy movie, and the literally pushing out of theaters makes me wonder, why would people want this hidden away if something sinister wasn't hiding? A technically unconfirmed thing that Caviezel has brought up is adrenochrome, which, to put simply, is adrenaline from humans. It's said that it's taken as a drug to keep you from aging. The theory is that all of Hollywood uses it. Do I personally believe this? Probably not. It's pretty far out there. But this is sort of how people have been putting a QAnon spin on the movie, because of the subject matter and heavy undertones that goes on in this illegal sex trade. The use of adrenochrome is a very common belief in people who participate in QAnon practices. The existence of adrenochrome isn't really the crazy part of the conspiracy though, it's the uses of it. So it seems that they've done everything that they can do to stop this movie from being seen. Maybe it'll start being seen as some crazies movie, but TikTok, which is still currently in the process of being banned, apparently, has videos everywhere telling people to watch this movie. It's how I heard about it. It's a powerful movie. I honestly learned a lot just from watching it. It also gives you another understanding that this is more than just a simple problem. At the end of the movie, it gives real-world statistics, some saying that there are more people enslaved now than when slavery was legal, and over 1 million of these slaves are children. This industry is the largest growing illegal industry in the world, larger than the drug trade, larger than the firearms trade, because with those you sell it once. With people, you can sell them multiple times a day. It is a very large problem, and this movie is trying to bring awareness to it. If you haven't seen Sound of Freedom, I recommend watching it. It's slightly dramatized, but at its core it's a true story, and it gives hope that we can change what's going on in the world.